Barry Alvarez has a pretty good track record as a football coach and also in the two head coaches that he's hired, the job that Brett Bielema did. But the hire that he made last year, Gary Andersen, after 4 years at Utah State, coaching 25 years, working his way up, waiting for an opportunity to coach a school like Wisconsin, and he leads the Badgers to the Capital One Bowl with a 9-win season so far. A graduate of Utah, and he's making his first appearance in the Capital One Bowl. Please welcome head coach Gary Andersen. Well, our next guest has a pretty good track record as well. National championship. He's taken South Carolina to its greatest stretch in school history, 11 wins, back-to-back seasons. First time that's happened at South Carolina. He's the all-time leader in victories at South Carolina, one win shy of a third straight 11-win season. He won the Heisman Trophy. I don't think Steve would appreciate if I said what year he won the Heisman Trophy, but I will say that my broadcast partner's father was the runner-up that year, Bob Greasy. Here he is, the head coach, South Carolina Gamecocks, Steve Spurrier. He said I could say it, I have his permission, 1966, Heisman Trophy winner. You ever think you'd see back-to-back freshmen win the Heisman Trophy after you won it in '66?
That was interesting. We were talking about that you can win the Heisman now without a campaign. Just go play, because every game's on television, and so the sports information guys don't have to worry about campaigning anymore. That's for sure.
Guys, what has this experience been like for you down in Orlando? Gary, I'll start with you.
Well, first of all, it's a first-class bowl, and when I say that, it's for the players to be able to have experiences that they'll never get again in their lives, and a lot of that has to do with going out and going to the parks, having fun, but spending the last week with your teammates, it's never going to be the same. Everybody's life is going to change when this is over with, and when you can do it in the manner that these kids get to do it with a bowl like this, it's special experiences that they'll have for the rest of their lives, and at the end, that's what the bowl game's all about.
Steve?
Yeah, the Capital One Bowl committee people, they do it as well as anybody in the country. This is a favorite bowl game of mine, and I think our team also, when we're fortunate enough to get here. And I also want to applaud the Orlando Police Department, the escort service we've got, Coach. Unbelievable, wasn't it? We had to have stopped more cars on the interstate this week, maybe in history, because we all know how the interstate was jammed.
The only person I know that drives faster than them is Clowney.
But they've done a super job
already.
That one
got served up. I had to take that shot.
That was pretty good. Coach Spurrier, would you like to respond to that, or wait till January 2nd? How about bowl prep, guys? What has stood out to you about your football teams in bowl preparation? Coach Spurrier.
Okay, well, first of all, I want to congratulate both teams. Wisconsin, I know they've been to the Rose Bowl the last 3 years, didn't quite get there, but they were in there competing for it, and they do that every year. They're a well-disciplined, physical team, and they don't beat themselves, play smart football. And also our guys. I congratulate our guys going 10-2 in the SEC. We were game short of playing for the conference championship again this year, but our guys have really played well. Really proud of both teams. Should be applauded for the way they played this year.
Coach, how about Andersen for you with bowl preparation? Anything that stood out to you about bowl prep?
Well, for us, it's a great opportunity to evaluate the young kids, and I was impressed with how far those kids that you get to spend time with back in August, when there's 105 of you going hard, how far they've come and matured on and off the field, as we got to spend some time with our younger kids prior to really getting to Orlando. So that was a huge part of this whole process for us as we move forward. And I would echo the same thing that Coach said. This is two great teams playing. The conferences that we play in, it's hard to win every single week, and there is no layups, and you got to go out and compete. And for those two teams to be here right now, I know there's tremendous kids on both sides, and we're lucky to be part of it, in my opinion. So thank you to all you guys. Appreciate you, and I know Coach appreciates you guys too.
You know, it's the first meeting between these two schools. What do you, Coach Spurrier, you know and appreciate about the Wisconsin football tradition and the history behind the Badger program?
Well, Barry Alvarez, I think, is the guy that got it started there. Wisconsin maybe wasn't near what they've been lately, and then Coach Alvarez got it rolling, and the other coaches have continued. And, you know, playing for Big Ten championships every year and Rose Bowl trips, and that's been regularly now for University of Wisconsin, and Coach Andersen and his guys have kept that competitive fire going. And our guys have done pretty well the last 3 or 4 years, and we've come some distance also, and we're going to try our best to stay there for quite a while.
Gary, what about Steve and just your knowledge of Coach Spurrier when, you know, you're still a young coach, but when you were a younger coach? And
yeah, well, Coach, he won the Heisman when I was 2 years old, so I don't remember that. But he obviously is a Hall of Fame coach. He's done unbelievable things in his career. He's coached at the highest level, won championships, and tremendous respect all the way through for Coach Spurrier and what he stands for. And I would say this, as I've got to know him a little bit through here, just in, you know, not this setting with just Coach and I get to talk, I shut my mouth and listen, because I can always learn from Hall of Fame coaches on one hand, but on the other side of that, I would say for South Carolina, Coach is always talking about his players. And to me, that's the number one most important thing in this whole deal is kids, and he's always talking about you in a good way.
all right, those are the softballs, now the hardball questions. All right, 2 years ago, my broadcast partner was a guy by the name of Urban Meyer, who you both know well. And so my question to you two guys is, and I think Urban enjoyed it so much that he left after 1 year to go back to coaching, but I think if he wasn't coaching, he'd like to broadcast it. If you guys weren't coaching football, I'm guessing maybe golf, pro, and comedian would be your options, but what would you do if you weren't coaching football? What would you do?
I'd be a 4th grade teacher, because I think I like to educate, I like to teach, and they're old enough that they're not going to, you know, stick their nose in the air, hopefully, when I ask them to do something, and but that's what I like to do.
Coach Spurrier, what would you be doing if you weren't coaching football?
I don't really know. I didn't have a lot of plans after. I was lucky to play in the NFL 10 years, and I had the best job in NFL football, backup quarterback. You don't get hit. You don't get beat up when the game's over. Hey, fellas, where are we going tonight? You know, I feel good. Where are we going? And so that's how I survived 10 years. That backup role was pretty good. But I don't know what I would have done, really. I was very fortunate to get in coaching, and when I got into it, I said, man, this beats working for a living. And I think we'll all agree, all of us coaches, that being on a team almost your whole life. I've been on a team since I was 7 years old. So that's sort of special and neat, just to be on a team.
Who's been the most influential person on each of you as a coach and to the type of coach that you are?
For me, it would be Ron McBride. He was the coach, longtime coach at Utah. He was my position coach. He recruited me. He gave me my first job in the Division I football, helped me get my first job in junior college when I started. So he's always been there for me. He comes to camp every single year, and he's my #1 mentor without question.
I guess the most influential coaches were the guys that hired me when I didn't have a job, starting with Doug Dickey, Pepper Rogers, Red Wilson at Duke University. And then I was lucky enough to get a head job only 5 years as an assistant. So I was very fortunate, and somehow or another, I'm still a head coach. I don't know. Never get fired. I'm trying to be like Barry Alvarez, never get fired. That's my goal in coaching.
All right, let's talk about your players. Tell me the most likely to succeed at something other than football among your players, if you can think that fast.
Go ahead.
Oh, that's an interesting one. There's a bunch of them. Let me see here. I'm going to go with the senior. It's a lot of normal choices. I would probably say I'm going to go with Jared right now, Abadaris, because his ability to fight from a walk-on keep on battling through, and we have a number of those young men on our team that have done that. But to do what Jared's done, compete at the highest level, stay humble, and just keep on fighting, excel athletically, be married as a college student, as a student athlete, impressive young man. He'll battle through life and be successful, whatever he decides to do.
Well, we've got a lot of players that I think are going to be very successful. We've been fortunate to have a lot of NFL draft picks, and we certainly encourage those guys to play as long as you can. But after that, make sure you got your degree and ready to get a good job and hopefully find a good wife and make a lot of money and give a little bit back to your university, right? President Pastides, that's the goal right there.
All right, I want to ask you each about one of your seniors. And Coach Spurrier, I'll start with you. Just talk about Connor Shaw, the year that he's had, and what he's meant to the program.
Yeah, Connor became a starter sort of the middle of his second year. He's only 2.5-year starter. I think he's had, 31 games now, 25-6 as a starter, became the all-time winningest quarterback in school history. And he's as good a passer as he is a runner. I tell everybody he's really the dual quarterback that you don't see a lot that much anymore. But he can run with it and hangs in there tough, and the guys around him have helped. He's got some good players around him, which all quarterbacks need. So, yeah, we're proud of Connor, and we'll be proud of him when he leaves here also.
Been a great career for Connor Shaw. Wisconsin's Chris Borland has also had an outstanding career. And Coach Andersen, I know this is your first year around him. What's it been like for you to coach Chris Borland in 2013?
Well, I had a little bit of a unique experience preparing to play Chris when I was still back at Utah State because we were coming to Camp Randall and play. So I watched him all summer long, and maybe the biggest credit I can give to Chris is I asked my own son, who's a linebacker, to watch this guy play, and along with the other two guys, Ethan's still with us and was playing in those games too. And the way they handled themselves when you're preparing for them. Then I got here and was able to be around Chris. And the best thing I can say about Chris Borland, he has all the accolades. It's well-deserving. He's a tremendous football player. He'll play this game for a long, long time. But what he's done, giving back to the community, he excels academically. It's important to him to excel socially. And the best thing I say about Chris is I'm a better person and I'm a better coach because I've been around him and I've been around this group. But that's a true statement with Chris Borland. He brings out the best in everybody that's around him, the way he competes daily and the way he cares for others.
All right, yep. Last question, we'll let you guys go on this. Just your thoughts on the game tomorrow, and just maybe a key for the fans as to what it will take for South Carolina to win tomorrow, Steve.
I think it'll be a knockdown, drag-out ball game. We're expecting it, and I'm sure Wisconsin is also. And probably in the fourth quarter, somebody's going to make a big play, or maybe somebody will make a kick or miss a kick. Who knows what's going to happen? But we're anticipating a hard-fought, close game.
Coach?
Yeah, exactly the same. It's going to be a physical football game. I believe turnovers are going to be a big part of it. When you have two physical teams play, there's going to be a lot of pads popping going on. The play in the trenches is very important on both sides. As you see the game tape, both teams want to be physical. They want to move the line of scrimmage. They want to produce big plays on offense and defense. And so because of that, I would see a couple plays swinging in favor of the winner at the end.
Well, great season for both of you. Great careers for both of you. Keep it up. Thanks for spending some time up here and talking to the fans. Thanks, guys.